Hey guys, thanks for watching Precision Rifle Network. This is going to be a little bit of a talking head video about my after action report, my experience at the Competition Dynamics Team Safari match just about 2 weeks ago. And I've got so many thoughts. This could be an hour long video, but I'm not going to do that to you guys. I also didn't take my camera along with me. All I had was my cell phone, so really, I'm going to be talking over some of the points that I just want to talk about here, and then I'm going to throw in some of the cell phone photos that I took, a little bit of video that was taken for me, and some video that I took over the top, so you can kind of get some sights and sounds. A couple of things that I just want to talk about that were kind of immediately eye-opening to me anyway, because I've never done any kind of a match out west. I've never done any kind of like a field competition like this. I haven't done any NRL Hunter matches yet. I haven't done any of this kind of stuff, right? Like I went and I RO'd at the Sniper Adventure Challenge, and I've been on one antelope hunt out west. You know, there's a video about it actually on PRN if you want to go back and see my antelope hunt. I documented that one. You'll have to go back a few years, but you'll find it back there. Anyway, this was a new experience for me, and you know, I've spent the vast majority of my time in PRS style competitions. The first thing that I noticed was that PRS gear and many of the, you know, the ways that we would run barricades in a PRS match, they just simply don't transfer over to Team Safari or, you know, this type of competition. I carried a Game Changer bag that I used only one time out of 3 days of competition in the way that it was designed to be used as a barricade bag. So there was a rock structure, and I was able to put my barricade bag on the rock structure, put the rifle on top of the bag, and shoot off of it to make impacts. That happened one time in 3 days of competition. So what I quickly learned there was the Game Changer, well, it's an awesome tool for the job of PRS style competition and the barricades, man-made barricades that we run into. And it can be useful, you know, as a field bag or a hunting bag or something like that. I just didn't use it as much. It was a piece of gear that I didn't need as much in the field style competitions. I also took my PRS gun. I took some weight off of it because I knew I was going to be hiking 3.5 miles a day, you know, with weight and with a rifle and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not, you know, I'm getting older. I'm not in the best shape, and so I just wanted to minimize the amount of weight that I had to carry. So my PRS rig is, you know, a Terminus Zeus action chambered in 6 GT, which I shot factory 6 GT Hornady ammunition. It was great. It was a laser, shot lights out, no problem with the ammo. Sitting in an MDT ACC chassis with a zero compromise 5-25, 5.27 or whatever it is up on top. And you know, the optic was fine. The chassis was too heavy, you know. I had a heavier contour, probably an M24 contour on my barrel. That's too heavy, unnecessary, right? Especially for a light recoiling 6mm. So the one thing that's going to change immediately for next year, in fact, I've already contacted Proof, and they're going to be sending me a carbon 6.5 Creed barrel, 24-inch, to build up this Team Safari rifle, or this NRL Hunter rifle that I'm going to be building. I've got like a stocks. I've got a stock for, they're like crossover stocks. It's like a half stock, half chassis, and I will be putting it in that along with a Proof barrel. It's going to be 6.5 Creed, as I said. It's going to be like a narrower contour, you know, something like a, I don't know, like a medium Palma or something like that. I don't know. I'm not going to go as thin as a varmint contour, but it'll be a little thicker than that, but definitely not as, you know, big and heavy. So I should be able to cut, you know, half the weight of my barrel off by going with the Proof carbon. And then, you know, I'm going to go with a double pull SkyPod, which was a change for me. Now I used the Atlas Cal mounted on my MDT ACC chassis for the competition. It was an okay choice, but I quickly can see why the SkyPod was made, and it really was made for that style of competition. In fact, Sky himself was out there at the match, shooting in the match, did very well. I can understand if that's the kind of match that he designed these bipods for. It makes perfect sense to me now, because a double pull SkyPod in that environment could have solved a lot of problems for me, along with some sort of a big pump pillow for a rear bag, or I could have gone tripod rear support on a lot of things. It could have just solved a lot of problems. I fully understand what that bipod is for now, so I'm going to be using one of those as well. That'll be a change. Just trying to get a lot of this stuff rattled off quickly, because again, I could be talking about it forever. Another thing that'll change is the backpack and the amount of weight that I carry. So I had, don't cringe at the name Eberly stock, because most people hear Eberly stock and their eyes roll and they're like, oh, I don't understand why people carry 7-pound backpacks. Well, this is not that Eberly stock. My Eberly stock is a pretty lightweight frame pack. It's just a lightweight aluminum frame that's got a big Molly panel on it, and I can attach whatever I want to it. And what I attach to it typically is this kind of lightweight duffel bag thing. It's just a big open sack that I can put all my gear in. But I had what I thought was paring down a lot of weight from my kit, from my PRS setup to what I was going to use in Team Safari, and I ended up still being at like 25 pounds, 30 pounds for the gear that I was carrying, with water and snacks and ammo and all the stuff, So I think I was probably 25 to 30 pounds on my pack, and then almost 20 pounds on my rifle. And that's just way too much weight to be carrying in this match in particular. What I realized is I didn't use most of that gear. So for day 2, I had a chest rig that's basically a big admin pouch. It kind of opens up and it's got some pockets in it, and on the back it's got a water bladder compartment. And so I just took my water, put it in there, and it's got a Molly panel on the back. I attached my ammo carrier to the outside of the back of the Molly on the back of that, and then on my chest rig I had my Kestrel, which I also barely used. I can talk about that in a little bit. But I had my pens and pencils and my dry erase board and the various things that I would use for sketching the stages and just drawing up my plan. I also had my arm board on my wrist. I kept my range-finding binoculars, the SIG Kilo 10Ks, mounted to my tripod, and the tripod fully extended pretty much the whole time, and just carried it in my hand. I had my rifle slung, and that's the way I went. So for day 2, I bet I cut probably almost 20 pounds of gear out of the system by just changing some things around and realizing some things that I didn't need, right? Left the game changer bag behind, switched to a smaller, lighter weight, just rear bag, typically used for just a rear bag. I used it as a rear bag, just clipped it to my belt and carried it that way. So a big heavy backpack was unnecessary. It really was. So that was a big thing that's going to be changing. What else? The Kestrel. So there just wasn't any time to be pulling out a Kestrel and aiming it into the wind and getting your wind correction and scrolling down and getting your data written down off of your range card or whatever. There was just no time to use a Kestrel. And that was a crutch for me. I realized how much of a crutch my Kestrel has become, because typically when it comes to matches that I go shoot, I will, while I'm waiting for my turn to shoot a stage, we are obviously given the targets and the distances, which we're not in Team Safari, but in a PRS match, I'm given the targets and the distances, and I'll go through on my Kestrel and look up those those ranges and write my data down on my little arm board for each of the targets that I need to hit, and I'll figure out wind, which my process for figuring out wind is to immediately feel the wind. Okay, I think it's a 7 mile per hour wind. Okay, now look at the vegetation. Yeah, the vegetation says it's a 5 to 7 mile an hour wind. So I think it's a 5 to 7 mile per hour wind, and I think it's roughly coming from the 10 o'clock, let's say. And then I pull out my Kestrel, and I use a Kestrel to kind of confirm, to make sure I'm roughly in the ballpark, right? And that's my process, but I wasn't able to do that at the Team Safari matches. So the Kestrel, while I can't see myself taking it out of the bag, because, you know, in some of the staging areas per se, I was able to just, you know, get it out and make sure, like, just if I felt like my shots were, let's say, drifting high throughout the day, well, maybe that was because it was getting hotter, the DA was changing, whatever. I could get the Kestrel out and I could look at the density altitude and go, yep, that's why I'm a 10th high, 2/10 high all of a sudden, because my DA just, you know, whatever it is. So you could use it in that sense, but the Kestrel is another piece of gear that I could probably have done without, especially using the SIG Kilo 10Ks. A thing that I failed to do with those binoculars during this match was to actually, you know, you can input all your applied ballistics data into that app, or I don't know if it's exactly applied ballistics, but all your ballistic data you can put into the app in the binocular rangefinders. And then as soon as you range the target, it's got its own internal atmospherics and all that kind of stuff. You can set a wind direction in the binoculars, and then you can just, when you hit the range button, it puts your drop data right up there on the screen for you, and an estimated wind call right up on the screen for you. And I didn't set that up prior to going. I only used them as binoculars and as rangefinders. And I could have done away with the Kestrel had I set up and used the SIG Kilo 10Ks properly. So there's so much to this match, guys, and I'm sure 10-15 minutes into this video, and I don't want to make it all that long for you guys. But I'm sure we're going to have a live stream sometime soon where I'll be able to answer a lot of questions on this and just talk in detail about it. But I had so much fun with this match. I don't even know what else to say other than I've been hearing for years people say, oh, the Competition Dynamics Team Safari, yeah, that's the most fun that I've ever had at a shooting match. And I've been like, okay, and I can say, without a doubt, the Team Safari put on by Competition Dynamics is the most fun that I've ever had at a shooting match. It's just the perfect amount of easy targets and difficult targets, like having to find the targets and deal with challenging positions. There's enough problem solving, but not too much. There's enough gimmies with easy stuff and close targets that it's just, not to mention the assault stages, which are usually AR and pistol kind of dominant, but gosh, so fun. And I will absolutely, if I'm able to do this match every single year, I will be doing this match every single year. It's the new hotness for me, and I'll definitely be doing some NRL Hunter matches this next year, completely stepping back from PRS style competition, unless it's just a local, one day, that sort of thing around here, because I want to go hang out with buddies. Like most of the guys that I know now are only shooting the 22 long rifle matches, which is great. I enjoy those too, but this kind of field team sniper competition, it's the new thing for me. It's the new direction that I'll be going. So you're going to be seeing a lot of videos kind of behind the gear choices and match prep and after actions and all that kind of stuff from those types of competitions. So guys, leave me some questions or comments below. Make sure you check out our sponsors. We've got a new title sponsor for the channel, and that is Secure-It Gun Storage. Really looking forward to partnership with those guys. They understand safety and security. They also make some pretty sweet products for storing your firearms, and not just like gun safes, but like wall-mounted units. Like this one you see behind me on the wall here is another brand. I haven't switched yet to the Secure-It wall panels, but I will be soon, and so you'll be seeing those in some videos. But hit up those affiliate sponsors down in the description links below. And stay tuned for more great videos from Precision Rifle Network.